Geist. Scene 1. A Sunday morning in February. Split stage. One part is the podium of a megachurch. We can't see the rest of the church, but we get the feeling that it's astoundingly large. The other part is a small dressing room. Lights up on the dressing room. The Reverend Roy Hawke Sr. enters. He is a large, broad man in his 40s, held from being fat by the sheer power he exerts. He is dressed in the finest suit one can buy for $300, and wearing a high-quality hairpiece that the audience shouldn't be able to figure out. He is closely followed by his assistant, a timid woman in her mid-20s. She helps fix up his suit and applies some last-minute makeup as they talk.
Are you excited for today's sermon?
Excited?
Well, I imagine if I had an audience this large, I'd be excited every day.
That excitement gets tempered. You have to accept responsibilities with such a flock.
Speaking of responsibilities, you have a few calls.
From whom?
The first one's from your wife.
Eleanor. Janet, this close to airtime?
She wanted to remind you about the new product
The miracle water, I know.
And she wanted you
to let people know about it.
Just a reminder.
I swear. That woman thinks I'll forget my clothes one day if she doesn't remind me. What else do I have?
Mrs. Truman called from the Sunday school with something about your son.
Oh, for Pete's sake, again? I'll deal with it afterwards.
And one more call from your brother.
My brother?
It's strange. I never even knew you had a brother. Calvin, right?
He stands up suddenly.
Is something wrong?
Forget what you just said.
About what, sir, your brother?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Reverend Roy Hawke Sr.
Excuse me.
Roy pushes past Eleanor and steps out onto the podium to wild applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to today's service at the Holy Church of the Saved. For those of you watching this at home, I hope your morning has been pleasant. I would like to preface this sermon with the fact that Daphne Baker's memorial service will be held on Friday the 18th. Many of you have either placed a child in the daycare service that Mrs. Baker ran for over 30 years or been in yourself, or both. I hope you will be able to join us to celebrate the life of this amazing woman. With that said, I would like to talk to you today about...
He takes a long drink from a bottle of water on the podium.
Miracles. Now, I know that many of you have had at some point in your life doubts that God exists or that he loves you. Maybe it's after the dissolution of your marriage, maybe it's after you've lost a child. Maybe it is, as it was for me, when you're robbed and you lose everything that you had. Sometimes it's hard to believe that there really is a God. But I want you to know that there is a God. There is a God out there, and he loves us. And all he wants is that we trust him and put our faith in his hands. I want to tell you a story. Once there was a man, a trucker. His job took him all across America transporting whatever he was assigned. One day, his truck ran out of gas in the middle of the desert. He stumbled out of his truck and walked down the road hoping to find a gas station. Minutes turned to hours, and the trucker became thirsty. Eventually, he collapsed. He swore, right then and there, that if he could survive that day, he would renounce his sins and become a true Christian. With that, an angel descended from the skies and pointed out there was a clear blue stream right nearby. He drank his fill and found that the wounds he had suffered had healed. And from that day forward, he thanked God for his bounty. Now, this miracle was not a metaphor. It wasn't. It happened to Scott, right there in the front row. Stand up, Scott. And if you want to buy this miraculous water, it's yours. Miracle water of the saved will heal your wounds and calm your mind. Only $29.99 at the gift store. Those of you watching at home, it's also available over our website with free shipping for frequent members. With that story concluded, let's begin our services. Oh, clap your hands, all ye nations. Shout to God with a voice of triumph.
Let's. Scene 2, the dining room of the Hawke household. A gaudy McMansion, the evening after the sermon. It is ugly on the outside, but quite nice on the inside. Janet Hawke, Roy's wife, is looking over sales figures spread out on the table. She's about Roy's age and dressed very businesslike. We hear a door opening, and Samantha Hawke, their daughter, enters. She's 18 and wearing jeans and a Holy Church of the Saved t-shirt. She is carrying a large backpack.
Hi, Mom. Back so soon?
It's 7:30.
Is it?
She checks her watch.
Well, I've been going over the revenue statements for 4 hours, apparently.
Good news, I hope.
I'm still looking through the sales figures, but I don't think we'll have to cancel our trip to Disney World quite yet. Where's Roy Jr.? I thought you were driving him back.
He wanted to hang out with a friend of his.
Who?
I didn't ask.
So you don't know where he is?
Am I my brother's keeper? Junior should be fine.
Oh, you'd be fine in that situation, but Junior keeps coming up with ways to get himself into danger. Remember last year, his school trip to Quebec?
That wasn't really his fault. He didn't speak French.
He almost got stabbed.
Fine. I'll go get him at the church.
When did you leave? Half an hour ago? He could be anywhere by now.
Junior's not.
Janet's cell phone rings. She answers it.
Yeah? Great. I was just wondering about that. Great. Your dad's got Junior. He got in trouble at Sunday school again.
For what?
Who knows? He's getting grounded tonight, though.
Probably just wandered off again.
Well, it's not like you haven't gotten lost before.
That's different. I was working on my college applications and they shut off the lights in the classroom.
You should have let me know that you were staying late so I could have kept them on. In any case, you're definitely getting into Colorado Christian, so I'm not sure why you're so worried.
Not necessarily. It's really competitive this year.
Why? Because some people with puffed up GPAs and a few months on the cheerleading team applied? You were published at 16.
Please stop bringing up that paper. It's got a million holes in it.
I'm not going to stop bringing up that paper. You're smart as a whip and you're just mad that there's proof. Anyway, your father and I have a lot of clout there, so you'll get in one way or another.
I'm applying to more places than CCU, you know.
Really?
Well, it's a reach, but I've looked into some Ivy League colleges.
Why would you want to go to a liberal hellhole like those? The next thing you'll want to do is go to California.
I think I'd be able to handle it.
I'm not saying that you won't be able to handle it, but are you sure you'd be happy there?
Why not?
I just think they'd have a different lifestyle than you're used to.
So what? Look, I haven't even applied to them.
Good.
That was an example. I'm perfectly happy someplace other than CCU. I mean, it's got some good programs, but the students there are...
Bright, possessing of a strong moral compass.
Sure.
I'm sure you'll love it.
She finishes up the paperwork and starts clearing it off the table.
I didn't realize it was so close to dinner. Looks like I'll have to reheat the pork chops from the charity luncheon.
Reheated pork chops for Sunday dinner?
We can salvage it. We've got mashed potatoes and corn and things like that.
Okay.
Great, I'll go get that started.
Without Dad and Junior?
I'm sure they'll be here soon.
Janet exits. Samantha starts reading a book on the table. The door opens again. Roy enters, his wig off.
Afternoon. Has my daughter published any new papers?
Nothing yet, Dad.
Is that your father?
Yes.
Pork chops?
Okay.
Good, that's all we have.
Where's Junior?
In the car. He had to collect something.
You let him out of your sight?
It's 3 feet to the door. I'm sure it's fine.
Roy Hawke Jr. enters. He is 13 and looks similar to his father. Except he's short and non-threatening. He is shirtless and carrying a shirt in his hand.
Hi, Sam.
Hey, Junior.
How was your day?
Son, put your shirt on.
But it's hot.
We keep our clothes on during dinner, Junior.
Well, all right.
He puts his shirt on. It says ICP for life. A beat.
Take your shirt off, son.
What's wrong?
Don't you know what that says?
Sure, International Christian Partners. For life.
And where did you get it?
My friend Skylar gave it to me.
You really have to figure out when people are lying to you, Junior.
Huh?
ICP stands for Insane Clown Posse.
I hate clowns!
He puts his shirt on and throws it to the floor. He runs off to
Hey, pick up your...
Roy picks up the shirt and flings it off stage.
You can get it later. Where does he even get those friends?
Church, I think.
Seriously?
They're in the same Sunday school group.
We really need to do something about that.
About what?
The people at church!
What?
The people at...
We're not doing anything about the people at church. What are you talking about?
Someone tried to turn our son into an insane clown. Is it on the news?
Yes, I saw the report. Don't even think about kicking Skylar's family out of the church. If word gets out that we're banning people, we're in serious trouble.
Well, what are we supposed to do?
Have you thought about just telling Junior to stay away from him?
Well,
Junior re-enters, wearing a shirt similar to Samantha's.
There, I'm changed.
Junior, Never mind. Go and wash up for dinner.
Junior exits.
You spoil that kid.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Something beeps from the kitchen.
that's dinner. You two help me bring it in.
They exit, then come back with 4 plates of pork chops and a basket of rolls. Junior enters, wiping his hands onto things.
Oh boy, pork chops with corn!
They sit down and hold hands.
Come
Come, Lord Jesus, be our guest, and let these gifts to us be blessed. Amen.
They start eating.
So, how was school?
I didn't have school.
How was Sunday school?
It's never fun dealing with a bunch of antsy kids.
Just wait until you become a parent.
I've been good in class, right?
I don't really know.
Aren't you friends with Tom?
The youth pastor? He's a little too cheery for me.
Well, maybe it would be good to have some of his influence in your life.
For God's sake.
We don't use the Lord's name in vain in this household.
I'm sorry.
Good.
Okay.
Roy, would now be a good time?
Come on now, honey.
Roy.
Son, I don't think you should talk to Skylar anymore.
What?
He's a bad influence.
Oh man, we were gonna go to Christian wrestling next Friday.
Gonna go to what now?
Christian wrestling. Satan the Destroyer is gonna take on Satan.
I'm surprised Satan would take the time to show up and wrestle a guy.
Yeah, I thought everyone knew about it.
Well, if you're that excited, I guess Sam can take you.
Wait, what?
We'll pay you back for gas.
I was gonna do something on Friday.
Do you mean waiting by the mailbox for your acceptance letters to come?
I don't want to go to Christian wrestling with my sister. What if the wrestlers make fun of me?
Then they wouldn't be real Christians, would they?
Well, I guess you're right.
I'm not really interested in sitting in an audience with a bunch of burly men.
Oh, there's women there too. I went there with Skylar, and there were men, women, and children of all ages there. It's great.
It's what, like 2 hours? I should really use that time to study.
Come on!
Hey, okay. I'll take you. Where is it anyway?
About 20 miles on the back road off the highway.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you promised. You promised.
I didn't know it was gonna take me another 2 hours just to get there.
You made a promise. God's gonna put your eye out like you did to Cadet Billy.
You know that story's fake, right?
No, wait. Tom said it was real.
Tom's full of lies. The story's out of the book.
And how would you know?
I own it.
Really?
I mean, it was in the bookstore.
So what? Books can be based on true stories. You know, want to know another one? The Bible. Case closed.
Table.
Sorry, Mom.
Surely you're not saying the Bible and Pastor Bill Ingham's true uplifting stories for kids are the same.
Well, the Bible's like the hard version, right?
Read the Bible?
Sam,
Well, I read the important parts, like Genesis and Exodus and the other ones.
Book of Esther?
Yeah?
Book of Daniel?
Yeah.
Book of Isaac?
Yeah.
There is no Book of Isaac.
God's gonna put your eye out for lying.
You're gonna put your own eyes out if you keep being so
Nobody's eyes are getting put out.
Sam, take your brother to Christian wrestling.
Surely there's someone at church who can
You're taking your brother to this wrestling, and that's fine.
Fine.
So what did you think of my sermon this morning?
I loved it.
Yeah, it's good.
The miracle water's been selling like hotcakes. We have enough for reasons all around.
Fantastic.
I wish you would have been more clear about whether you were supposed to drink it or apply it to the wound, though.
I implied in the parable that you're supposed to drink it.
Well,
Well, what?
you can't expect people to understand things if you don't say it.
That's ridiculous.
Remember the prayer cream?
That was a labeling mistake.
It tasted bad anyways.
Granted, the water does come in small bottles, but why are we even discussing this? It's not like it's poison or anything. Water's water.
I guess you have a point.
And knock at the door.
During dinner.
I'll get it.
Oh, it's fine.
Boy goes to get the door. It's Eleanor.
Eleanor,
Huh? Hi, Eleanor. Hi.
what are you doing here?
Why did you run away from me this morning?
I didn't run away. It was time to go on. I had to rush.
Well, your brother...
Keep it down.
What? Your family doesn't...
Shh. Shh.
Your brother called. He wants you to pay him a visit.
Absolutely not.
He slams the door in her face.
My!
Excuse the interruptions.
He sits down and starts eating. Eleanor knocks on the door insistently. Eventually, Roy gets the door again.
Go home.
This is an urgent
He
matter.
just wants money.
He starts to swing the door
He's
closed.
dying.
He holds the door an inch from the frame. He opens it again.
What did you say?
He's dying. Cancer.
Really?
He wanted to discuss things with you.
The afterlife?
I don't know. He said it was private.
What's going on?
Don't worry about it, just some business. Send me his address. Private.
Eleanor nods. Roy closes the door again and sits down.
Who wants dessert?
Oh, me!
Let's end of scene. Scene 3, a small apartment, several days later, early afternoon. Junk is scattered everywhere, mostly research papers and ramen cups. A microscope and some petri dishes are perched on card tables across from the door. Calvin Hawke is leaning back in a rolling chair eating another cup ramen. He's a little older than Roy, but looks completely different. He is thin and gaunt, wearing disheveled clothes. His hair is gray and thinning. It's been a day or two since the last scene. A knock at the door. Calvin puts the ramen aside, stands up, kicks the rolling chair to one side, and opens the door. It's Roy, wearing his toupee.
Calvin?
Roy.
Not so loud.
Roy enters, closing the door behind him.
This place is disgusting. How many cup of noodles do you eat a day anyway?
The landlord can figure out what to do with them when I die.
That's childish.
I'm sorry.
Why bother picking up after myself? I'm just going to die anyway.
I never said that.
You're living in squalor. I don't even know what you're doing. Just wallowing like a pig in your own filth.
I'm not wallowing. I'm doing some microscope work. It just happens to take so much time I don't have any to clean up. It'd be a huge project anyway.
So, cancer?
Leukemia. By the time I was diagnosed, it was too late. The doctors give me another couple months. I had to retire from my professorship at UC Berkeley. I moved back here a couple of months ago to settle things after the things that I left behind when I ran away. But it's cheaper anyway.
Berkeley?
Yeah, let's hear it. It's a pit of sin. I'm being dragged into hell.
I won't do that. I have respect for the dying.
So you only care about me now that I'm dying?
It's not that exactly.
You mention your family in your sermons nearly all the time. Your father, your wife, your children. Never me.
You watch my sermons.
Occasionally.
Well, if I had known that you'd come back to the fold, I would have mentioned you once in a while.
No, I didn't. I'm just a spectator.
So you became an atheist.
That's a pretty strong word you're throwing around there. Atheist?
Secular, then.
What's with the need for a category?
You know, in my opinion, that's worse than atheism. At least atheists believe in something.
I believe in plenty of things. Anyway, that's a pretty black and white argument you have going there.
Which?
If I don't go to your church that I don't believe in God.
Of course I'm not saying that.
You don't have to be coy about it.
I think that...
Let's stop there before you give me a private sermon. You're not going to change my mind.
So why did you call me? Are you trying to request forgiveness?
From who? You?
From God.
God will be fine with me.
You really think you're going to heaven?
I don't think about that.
You know, that's your problem. You don't think.
Calm down, Roy. All those cute little turns of phrases will get you nothing here. This isn't church camp. No, I wanted to talk to you about something more practical.
You brought one of the most powerful men of the Lord in the country to talk to you about frivolities?
It's my last wish. Come on.
I guess I can't refuse that.
I read in the news that you're the first church in the state to include tithing machines in your lobby.
Yes.
And you've raised money for innumerable organizations like Parents for Children, Americans Standing Proud. Honestly, I don't know what any of them do, but you've raised millions for them.
Yes.
Well, I have some money saved. I want you to use it as seed money to create the Calvin Hawke Foundation for Leukemia.
The what?
Sure, I'm gonna die, but I'm fine. I've gone through the phases. But there's people out there, children, wives, fathers, who were struck down before their time. I don't know if we'll ever find a cure for leukemia, but I want to know that I've done my part.
Couldn't you do it without slapping your name on it?
I'm sorry, what?
You could easily just donate that money to a charity. There's plenty of them, except maybe those wouldn't stroke your ego.
I don't have an ego, you're just being petty.
Besides, just because people want to give it to the church doesn't mean that they necessarily give to your little pet project.
Pet project?
I mean, it's nice that you want to do good and everything, but you don't need to involve the church in this. It's not exactly what you'd call spiritual.
Would you call a coffee shop spiritual? A bookstore the size of a house? A fucking VIP
Watch your
cemetery?
language.
You have no power over me. And you're astonishing. Here I am, trying to give you money, and you're refusing to take it because it touched my hands, which are apparently covered in some contagious Berkeley or something.
The fact that you taught at an institution like that for who knows how many years aside, we offer those services for churchgoers.
Who cares? It's church. You go there for 2 hours, you feel uncomfortable, and then you leave.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, right. I forgot that there's lunch afterwards. Come on, boy. We both know you're not actually trying.
What are you talking about?
When was the last time you cited your sources? Dad always mentioned what Bible passages he drew his sermons from. You haven't done that in... I don't think you've ever done that.
My sermons refer to general Christian spirituality.
That explains why your website calls you a biblical scholar, right? I'm sorry, it's just a nonprofit.
Do you know how difficult it is to set up a nonprofit that actually works? The forms you have to fill out, the amount of marketing, planning, executing, assessing.
I'll do them all. Just promise me that you'll do the best you can with that glorious hype machine of yours.
I can't make any promises.
I can make one.
I doubt you can promise anything that'll...
You came here because you thought I'd finally changed my ways, right? Would I come back to the fold?
I'm not saying that.
Well, you can be right.
What are you talking about?
Help me found my organization and I'll convert. I'll attend services at your church every day for the rest of my life. And when I die, I'll be buried in your cemetery, VIP or not.
Really?
Show me your good works and I'll show you my faith.
You must accept that this will be the most difficult thing you've ever done in your life.
I have cancer, Philip.
I'm glad you're unafraid.
Roy turns to leave, then turns around.
Did you ever regret leaving? The church, I mean.
Did I? You know, there is something I miss.
Yeah?
Old Joe's barbecue. I should have had one last tri-tip before I left. I can still taste it. I lost all my appetite and I can still taste it. I mean, he's probably long dead by now, though.
I'm sorry to hear that's all you regret. Goodbye.
Roy exits, legs. Scene 5, the podium, the following Sunday morning. Roy enters. Eleanor begins combing down his toupee.
Did you wear your wig out of the church again?
Yes.
That makes it difficult to see on the camera.
I apologize, and I apologize for slamming the door on you like that.
Oh, it's no problem.
Are you sure?
I worked for Joshua Stiles before this job.
Wow.
It wasn't pleasant. I had to make a lot of apologies after I left.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Reverend Roy Hawke Sr.
Good luck.
Roy goes to the podium.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to ask my audience, are you perfect? Have you lived your lives perfectly moral, and have you perfectly resisted temptation according to God's command? Raise your hand if you are. I didn't think so. And you'll notice that my hand isn't up either. I'm afraid that I can't resist a good plate of ribs. But what we shouldn't be asking ourselves is if we're perfect. We are only human after all. What you need to know and what you need to ask yourself is that God will be there for you if you wish to ask for his forgiveness and if you're ready to return to his path. I know what you're thinking. Can God really be that forgiving? Can he just let us back in after we stray? Well, I think God himself can answer that. In Luke 15, Jesus presents a parable about two sons. The younger asks their father, "Dad, can I have some money?" As I'm sure those of you with children are familiar with. So this child took his money and went away and spent his money on partying and luxuries, and one day he found out that he had no money at all. Sometime later, the eldest son, who was dutifully tending the fields, when who should appear but the younger son? So the father came out, and the younger son said, "Dad, I spent all your money. Can I please come back?" And what do you think the father did? He threw a feast for the son. The older son, of course, was angry and asked, "But he threw away the money you worked so hard to make. Why are you throwing him a feast?" And the father replied, "I threw him a feast because he was gone. Now he has returned." God loves nothing more than someone who asks forgiveness. Don't feel guilty. Just apologize to God and get back on the course. And make sure you know when those around you need to repent. You might have a wayward son of your own. With the sermon concluded, let us continue the service. And don't forget to donate to the Irving Hawke Fund for Cancer named after my father, who passed away 15 years to this day from the disease. Oh, clap your hands, all ye nations, shout to God with a voice of triumph.
Lights. Scene 6. The living room of the Hawke household that Friday, 11 in the evening. It is empty and the lights are on. Roy Jr. enters. He's wearing a Christian wrestling t-shirt.
Watch out, Satan! Johnny Crossbear is here to take you down!
You'll never get away with your evil around these parts!
He lunges at wrestling, falls down, and springs back up again.
I meant for you to pin me because now I can slam you like this!
Samantha enters. Junior hasn't noticed her.
Hey, were you playing with the lights?
Junior mimics a complex wrestling hold.
By God, the forces of good are tearing up evil today! 1, 2, 3, he's down! Ding, ding! Yeah, I took you down. Wait, who's this? It's the tag team of sloth and gluttony. Captain Johnny Crossbears, survive!
Junior swivels his head around to see.
Did you wait until morning to evil? Glad you liked it. I called them. He should use
Favorite of Dad's sermons.
Roy enters quietly behind him.
He had some great ones back when the congregation was smaller back in the day. This recent stuff, I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to the last.
Haven't paid attention to what?
Sorry, Dad.
Pay attention next time. You might learn something.
Yeah.
Go to your homework.
Samantha listens.
So how was wrestling?
It was great. There was this cool guy named Johnny Crossbear, and he helped Samson put Satan in a full Nelson. But then his tag team partner betrayed him. And
What was the partner's name?
Judas! Nobody saw it coming. It was crazy.
I see.
And they killed Johnny, but the announcer asked the audience to pray for them. And he came back and won. It was great. I can't wait so long.
Tell me what?
Wrestling. It was so cool. There was this.
Not tonight, honey. Tell me over breakfast.
Are you okay, Mom?
It's been a long night.
How'd my sermon go?
Not bad.
Great.
Some people have been sick. There's something going around. I had to fill in for them. Doing work for 3, well, I suppose it's for a noble cause. We finally managed to move Christian Tales for fishermen, too.
Finally.
Mom?
Not now, Junior. I just need an hour or 2 to relax.
Can I go back to wrestling next
Please
week?
be quiet.
Uncle Calvin said he'd show me a bunch of stuff.
Uncle Calvin?
Don't you have a brother named...
Wait, where did you...
He was sitting next to me. He told me to call him Uncle. He knows lots about wrestling. He wanted me to show me some videos.
Absolutely not.
Well, if it's Uncle Calvin...
Wow, thanks!
Hold on. What did this Uncle Calvin look like?
He was real pudgy and had white hair and a beard.
Oh, thank God. He was just a random weirdo. Never talk to him again. We'll see if you can keep going to wrestling in the future. Back to
Dad!
bed. It's late.
Junior trudges off stage.
How do you know what Calvin looked like? You haven't seen him since you were 17.
Just a guess. He's always been a skinny guy.
You were a skinny guy yourself back in the day.
Just trust me on this one, okay?
Are you nervous about something? You're sweating.
It's nothing. Just a little stressed. I'm having some trouble writing the Easter sermon.
Need some help?
No, it's fine. I think I'll head down to the park tomorrow for inspiration.
Have fun then.
Scene 7. Calvin's apartment, the next day. He's reading a book. A knock at the door.
Come in.
Roy enters. He's wearing his wig and carrying a styrofoam container in one hand and a pile of forms and folders in the other. He places the pile of forms on the table.
You know you shouldn't leave the doors unlocked, right? What's wrong?
The Irving Hawke Fund? The Irving Hawke
I know
Fund?
this looks bad, but you
Give me my money back. I should have guessed you would misappropriate.
Calm down, Calvin. The fund is temporary, and when your charity's set up, we'll funnel the cash into it. We just need to wait for you to die.
And how am I supposed to know you're not going to just take the money when I die?
Roy holds out the styrofoam container.
So this is a peace offering.
What's that?
There was a barbecue today. Old Joe's son.
Young Joe?
Chris, actually. He had the recipe.
Roy hands the container to Calvin, who takes a steak sandwich out and takes a bite.
It's better than old Joe.
You think so?
Definitely. God. What?
I haven't seen you that excited about anything in a while.
Yeah? You should have seen me when I was injecting dye into microorganisms. It was real exciting.
Well, let's get to business. We've got forms to fill out. Did you write down your mission statement?
Yeah, here.
He hands Roy a sheet of paper.
I can't read this.
Really?
Your handwriting is awful.
Jesus, is there anything you don't complain
Don't take
about?
the Lord's name in vain if you intend to be born again.
Calvin Hawke Foundation for Leukemia intends to fund research for a cure, providing resources for individuals and families suffering from the disease.
Intends to fund?
Why? What's wrong?
You aren't trying to find funding, Calvin. You aren't begging. You are going to fund research for a cure. Yeah, actually, let's punch that up. The Calvin Hawke Foundation for Leukemia funds the fight against leukemia.
I don't like the fight against leukemia.
Huh?
Because I'm gonna die, Roy. I'm going to lose the fight. I'm not even getting chemo, so really I'm going down like a bitch.
You're not getting chemotherapy?
Why, Roy? You... Actually, no. No. I'm not getting into a quality of life debate with you. I'm tired of getting into that quality of life debate. I got into one with my damn grocery bagger today, and I'm just sick of it. I have nobody who depends on me. I have nobody who cares. I just want to die peacefully in my sleep. Let's move on.
You have a lot to answer for first.
Please, let's just move on. We can argue all you want once we finish.
And you're not going to run away from this, are you?
You mean again?
We haven't figured out what we want to do with the mission statement.
You know more than me. Go ahead.
Calvin,
Go ahead.
there's no reason for you to be this angry about a simple mission statement. It's almost certainly going to be edited anyway.
I'm sorry.
Is there something you haven't told me?
I'm a child. I'm still mad about the baseball cards.
You mean that game we played?
Yeah. The green board, and you played it with real baseball cards. I was tired of seeing you always choose the best cards because you always had your way.
I admit I was greedy back then, but we were children.
Well, you're still being stubborn about this. You haven't changed a bit.
Fine. If you don't want to talk to me about the fight against cancer, I won't, okay? Are you happy?
Yes, I'm happy. I'm very happy. I'm jumping for joy.
Are we done?
Yes.
I grabbed a bunch of files for church members with administrative experience. Let's go through these and pick out some people for the board.
How many were you thinking?
4, and my wife.
Why not you?
Janet is a financial genius. She made me what I am.
Is she responsible for that little amusement park you call a church?
In part.
I don't want her in there.
That was a different time. Janet's changed. We've all changed.
Yeah. I noticed you cited a source yesterday.
Yes, I did.
Was it because of what I said?
Yes.
Wait, hold on. What?
It was because of you.
So you're straight up admitting it. Amazing. I didn't think you had it in you.
Let's not talk about this, please.
Okay. Who do we have here?
Gerald Stump. He's organized some of our largest charity drives and has immense church experience.
Any experience with non-church charities?
He used to work for a marathon organizing group, nothing major.
Put him in the maybe pile.
Susan Greenwood, she negotiates with contractors.
There's coffee people.
There's a lot more than just...
Absolutely not. Whoa, look at Yvonne Baker, 15 years with the Red Cross. What's she doing at the Holy Church of the Sage?
She found Christ while abroad. She's currently working with the lower income.
Let's stop right there. She's in.
Hold on, Calvin. Yvonne is a lovely person, but she deals more with the public relations side of things.
That's perfectly fine.
You're shooting yourself in the foot.
I don't want the Calvin Hawke Foundation to be about money. I want someone with heart on the board. Someone who actually knows how to help people.
And why can't any of the others do that?
Look at her photo. She's smiling.
Lots of people smile in their photos.
Have you seen them lately? All of them have the same tight-lipped grimace. The one that says, I don't care about anyone who isn't like me. Dad's frowning. Susan's frowning. Gerald's frowning. Christine Pullman is frowning. Paul Ang is frowning. Olivia Bowles. She's smiling, huh?
Give me that file.
He tries yanking Olivia's file.
Oh, hold on.
She's unemployable.
I'll be the judge of that. Look at this. 20 years at the Special Olympics. Magna cum laude from
Like I
Rutgers.
said, she's unemployable.
What's wrong with her?
I didn't mean to bring that file along. It must have been in the drawer. She left last year.
For what?
Jeshua Stiles and the Church of Christ the Redeemer.
The picketers.
I wish it was just the picketers. The man decreed striped pants as a tool of the devil last week. Somehow Olivia saw the appeal.
Gavin reluctantly hands over the file.
All right, let's see. Yvonne, Gerald, Terry Stites looks very with it.
Terry's been with the church since the early days. He's solid.
Great. And Robert, what now?
He left for Stiles' church. I'm sorry, I wasn't really looking at whose profiles I grabbed.
How many people have jumped ship?
I'm uncomfortable saying. We're getting our attendance records on Sunday.
All right. If Robert's busy tormenting widows at funerals, how about Carol?
Carol's fine.
Fine, that's it?
To be honest, I can't remember her that well. But she hasn't done anything terrible.
I guess nothing terrible and a half smile is gonna do. And Janet?
Yes, Janet.
I'm still worried about it.
We're not going to commercialize the Calvin Hawke Foundation. It'll be in your memory. It would be crass.
There's a lot of crass things you do in Jesus' memory.
Everything I do out of love for God. Everything I do in Christ's name.
Look at yourself, Roy. Look at your church. Look at all the money you're spending. You have command over hundreds of thousands of people. And you're blowing it on, what did you call it? Parties and luxury?
You strayed just as much as I have.
I didn't stray. I left. I'm not coming back.
Yes, you are.
What?
You are coming back because I'm going to talk to my wife and talk to the board members, and I'm going to found the Calvin Hawke Foundation because I'm not letting my brother go to hell.
Good luck.
Fill out the remaining paperwork. We better have finished by next week.
Look at you. You can teach college.
If you could, I'm sure anyone can.
You got me there.
Roy leaves. Lights. Scene 8. The church. Eleanor and Roy, as before.
Is something wrong, sir?
I'm tired. I haven't been getting enough sleep.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I just have to suck it up and give my sermons, of course.
Well,
No, it's fine. It's perfectly fine.
you just seem a little off recently. I think you've been losing weight too.
I've been watching what I eat. I'm sure your eyes will get used to it eventually.
I guess.
Eleanor, how much are you getting paid?
$13 an hour.
You can't be serious.
I do this out of love. I have another job.
As soon as the service is over, I'm going to go to Human Resources and ask about a raise.
Really?
I couldn't give a sermon without you, Eleanor.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Reverend Roy Hawke Sr. Roy Hawke.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I would like to address something that means a lot to me. We go through life looking only at ourselves, looking at what we've accomplished. We say, I'm doing well, I'm a good person. But how can we know we are good if we're just moving through life without looking at others? If we want to guarantee ourselves a brilliant next life, we need to start looking at who we help in this one. You know, I know a man who took his time off on his own dime to help sick people in this country. He did it out of the kindness of his heart, even though everyone around him said that it wasn't right. And he cured them. And when people started praising him and saying how good he was humble and left. And that man was Jesus Christ. Matthew, Mark, and Luke say so, and if those three agree on something, I think we should take them at their word. We should follow the example of Christ in aiding the ill and the injured among us. We should think about what we have and how much the people in our lives mean to us. And we should remember that every sick person has someone who means something to them. If you do not have the time to volunteer at your local hospital, giving money is also wonderful. There are many opportunities attached to the church and elsewhere. So the next time you think about buying a new cell phone, think about Christ. And think about the ill people who could use that money more. That concludes our sermon. Now let us continue the service. Oh, clap your hands, all ye nations. Shout to God with the voice of triumph.
Lights. Scene 9. The Hawke household's dining room. Janet is sitting with Roy, reading off a sheet of paper.
Are we to let Roy Hawke tell us how to give our hard-earned money to people who will just spend it on cell phones and lobsters? Are we to let someone who's so soft to dress us while we are in the war of the very Christian values that make up this nation? We must declare war.
That's enough.
Styles has really been tearing into you lately.
It's crazy.
Another 1,000 churchgoers disagree. We still have plenty of members, Roy. It's not a huge problem, but if our numbers keep dropping...
What does Styles have? What's so appealing about that man? All he does is yell.
People are getting tired of general spirituality. You knew this day would come.
It's not here yet.
You
Can't be.
You need to start looking at the truth, Roy. The Church of Christ the Redeemer has been growing and we've been shrinking.
It's just a coincidence. There's still only 8,000.
8,000 members, and Olivia Bowles is one of them. Do you remember Olivia? Her willingness to reach out to people, her smile.
I remember Olivia.
They're stronger than we thought. So they are. We just need to double up the attack. The legal team...
We're not going to do legal battles with them anymore. They're too good.
Relax, Roy. We're only using them for defense. What I was planning is increasing amenities. We've got an express coffee station planned for the new wing, and we've been in negotiation with some Christian booksellers to double the size of the bookstore.
You really think that will attract more people?
It always has.
You said it yourself, Janet. The time has come. Things are changing.
So you're opposed to the expansion.
I don't think it'll work. We built an empire about making people happy to see God, and yet I don't think people are happy to see Him anymore.
Where are you getting this from?
Janet, have you ever seen anyone on our board smile?
Smile?
Please, if you can remember.
This is ridiculous. You know the good work they've done, the money they've raised. It doesn't matter if... The last person I saw smile at a board meeting was Olivia. Of course, people have been happy before.
They always express it with those tight-lipped grimaces.
Yeah.
Always those frowns, never letting themselves show. What's happened to us, Janet?
The door slams open and Junior runs in, wearing an obviously homemade wrestling costume.
Sinners be warned! Repent now, because you will earn the eyes of the Hawke!
Junior, what are you doing?
Preparing.
For what?
I'm going to try out for Christian wrestling. Evil needs punishing.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Because it's too dangerous?
Well, for one thing, professional wrestling isn't the sort of thing Christians should be watching. It's very violent.
For a good cause.
And besides, wrestlers have to be really strong and muscular.
What are you talking about? This is pure muscle.
Junior, I just don't want you going to wrestling.
You don't understand, Dad. These people are men of God.
Junior, I'm a man of God.
But all you do is stand there and talk. These guys actually do something.
Junior, wrestling is fake.
Then so's your sermons.
Storms out.
What are we doing, Janet? Junior, of all people.
He'll come back.
We could have prevented that. Maybe if I started preaching about things that matter.
You
When I was selling church product, when I was telling stories about true Christian miracles that never really happened, when I never referred to the Bible for 15 years.
Do you think I was the one who built the Holy Church of the Saved? The one who keeps people flocking back to us week after week? I make sure that the Holy Church of the Saved runs. I make sure that when people get to the church, they won't leave, but you are the one who drew the people in. You are the one who people come to see. And if you don't like what people want, then go ahead and throw it away.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that people went to the church to be pandered to.
Not pandered to, Roy. Soothed. Comforted.
Is that what we've consigned ourselves to? Not to make people change or think just to make people feel better?
Nobody else will. Most people who come to our church want to live a simple, honest, moral life. One with a happy family, with a roof over their heads, but they wake up next to somebody who they had doubts about marrying, drive to work in a car that could break down at any minute, work at a job where they could get fired at any second, drive back home, turn on the TV, and all that's on is sex and drugs. And they live in an uncertain world, and all they have to depend on is the fact that God is looking down on them from the sky and smiling, and will send a miracle one day if they can't make it themselves. They want faith. And they're coming to you because that's what you're giving them. You're not afraid, you're not a fraud because what you're selling isn't holy water or coffees or church memberships. You're selling them faith, and nobody can counterfeit faith.
I just can't look at it that way anymore.
What's happening? You've been off for weeks. You haven't been eating. You're getting pale.
I've been dealing with some personal issues.
Is that something a doctor should look at? Doesn't heart disease run in your family?
Leukemia. Don't worry, it's not that.
So what's the problem? You have to tell someone. You can't keep going on like this. You need to tell me, Roy. I know you need to. We've been married for 30 years.
Janet.
Yes! Is that...
Samantha enters with 2 large envelopes. Noticing Roy and Janet, she quietly throws one off stage and proudly displays the other.
I got into CCU.
Really?
I knew you could do it, Sam.
She gets out of her chair and hugs her.
Great work, Sam.
You're going to love it there.
Yeah, it looks good.
You know, it used to be called Rockman's when we went there.
I'm assuming you're going to be studying theology.
Yeah.
Just a warning, I'll expect you to help me with my sermons every once in a while.
I just heard from Mrs. Michaels, actually. Her daughter's going to CCU, too. You two should drive up together.
You mean Kate?
Or carpool. I know I learned a lot about myself driving to Rockman's with my friends back in the day.
It's fine, I don't really know her that well.
Doesn't she teach Sunday school the same grade as you?
Exactly, our classes are at the same time, and she's really into sports and organizing those chastity club events.
Well, you can visit maybe briefly.
I'll think about it. Oh, I just remembered I have someplace to get to.
Meeting at the church?
A test
Oh,
prep.
but you got it already.
I can take more theology classes if I get good AP scores.
She exits.
Study hard.
Wait, is it 3:30 already?
Oh, yeah?
Looks like I have somewhere to go, too. Did you have a look at that mission statement?
It looks strong to me, but you don't really need one for the Irving Hawke Fund.
Don't worry about it, honey.
He kisses her on the cheek and turns to leave.
I know this isn't about your father. And I don't know what it is about, but you better have a good reason you're keeping a secret from me.
Don't worry. I'll let you know when the time comes.
Roy exits. Lights. End of scene. Scene 10. Calvin's apartment. Calvin is reading some papers. Roy enters without his wig. He is carrying more forms.
Hi, Calvin. Sorry I'm late.
It's no problem, Roy. I didn't know you were bald.
Sad but true.
And here I thought you got Dad's hair. So, how close are we to finishing?
We're on our way. Are you feeling well enough to keep working?
You can ask that question when I have at least 3 tubes in me.
Fine then.
Hold on a minute.
What?
I thought we could spend some quality family time together. I mean, seeing as we haven't seen each other for decades,
He pulls out a green board game box.
Is that...
the same game we played as a kid. Picked it up on eBay for $30.
Do you have any cards?
Calvin pulls out a shoebox and lifts the lid. It's filled with baseball cards.
How much did that run you?
Not much. I got some cheap cards from the late 80s.
Well, good.
Besides, what else was I going to spend my money on?
Don't you have a will?
Of course. My possessions get auctioned off for charity, and I get to receive a note of honor at the Berkeley commencement. Come on, let's play.
I think we're a little too old for that.
I read your editorial about how the Chicago Cubs are a metaphor for faith in Christ. You can't get out of this one.
Fine.
I got you the cards you like anyway.
Calvin pushes a bunch of junk off the table they're sitting at and throws some cards to Roy.
Cal Ripken, Ozzie Smith, Ricky Henderson. Only the best for you.
They set up their teams.
Done.
You're not still bitter about me taking the good cards when we were kids, right?
A little.
Just a little?
Why are you asking?
It's just that your team seems to be made of 25 Michael Jordans. You don't even want a picture?
Let's just play.
All right. You go first. I don't remember how to play at all.
It's not so hard. You just roll the dice, look at the tables, and then look at your card.
He rolls some dice.
Let's see. Consult pitcher's ERA.
Nolan Ryan's is 3.19.
So that's a fly ball.
He rolls the dice.
And out. Jordan 2 is up
Hey,
to bat.
I roll the dice for field.
Oh, go ahead.
Roy rolls.
Looks like you're on first.
Oh.
Bad luck on my part. Go ahead.
Calvin rolls.
It's a strikeout for sure.
I'm gonna go for a change up.
I'm stealing.
Calvin rolls.
Oh, man, close one.
You're gonna strike out this time. You know that, right?
We'll see.
He rolls.
Oh, you're right. Jordan 4, you're up.
He lets the die fall from his hand without actually rolling.
Out. Your turn.
Look, if you didn't want to play, you could have just...
No, I'm sorry, Roy. I really do want to play. I don't know what came over me.
You want to start over?
It's fine. I like my team of Jordans.
Why? They're terrible.
I saw you smile when I brought them out. Haven't seen that smile that much. I mean, it's understandable you don't want to spend time with your heathen brother and his scary cancer.
Come on, Calvin. I may have been a little offset after seeing you after so long, but I've been perfectly civil with you.
Civil, sure.
He rolls some dice.
Roll.
Calvin.
Roll.
Roy rolls.
One strike.
Rolls.
Bases loaded.
Wait, but that isn't right.
Hmm?
Surely when you bunted the second time, I'd be ready for you.
It doesn't say anything like that in the rules. And anyway, if you're worried about realism, maybe you should address my team of clones first.
You knew when you bought the game, didn't you? You gave me the best cards because you wanted to rub in my face.
I just wanted you to know how it felt.
What the?
When you always seem to get away with it, how I always seem to take the blame.
It's ridiculous. I've always owned
When we
up
were in
to-
the 3rd grade, we got separated from our Boy Scouts troop. Dad read me the riot act saying that I should have navigated us both to safety because I was the older one.
Dad didn't play favorites.
Do you know why?
I've asked myself that. I don't know.
I do.
You do?
It happened when I was 6 and you were 5.
I'm sure Dad wouldn't judge you that much for something you did when you were that young.
It didn't matter.
What happened?
It's something I can't tell you until I'm born again.
We better keep going, shouldn't we?
Okay, hold on. I get another at bat.
Calvin,
No more bunting.
no more bunting there.
Calvin rolls.
Looks like a hit. I'm
Are you
surprised.
sure?
Unless you pitch a curveball.
Roy flips up a card. Calvin looks at it.
Well, that's what I get for playing with so many Michael Jordans.
He starts
Hold on.
putting the cards away.
Hold on, it's not over.
It's over, Roy. Look at my team.
I guess that's fair.
Thanks for putting up with all this.
Until you started bunting, I was actually having a lot of fun. You haven't changed as much as I thought. In a good way.
Thank you, Roy.
And I hope that when you become a Christian, you can join us for Sunday dinner at least once. We'd be happy to have you.
Well, I think
Uncle Calvin! Uncle Calvin!
Samantha bursts through the door.
I got into Berkeley. I got into... Dad. What?
Sam!
look,
You
I...
better have an explanation for this, Calvin. And Sam, what are you doing?
You didn't know?
Have you been lying to me? How long? Tell the truth.
About a year.
Every single time you've been in college prep.
Yes, I've been studying with Uncle Calvin.
Don't call him Uncle Calvin.
What do you want me to call
I
him?
suggest you don't call him anymore. I can't believe you would try to get my child into a place like that. She's still developing.
Berkeley was my idea.
It's true, Roy. Apparently she read the faculty bio when she was scouting the website and tracked me down.
It doesn't excuse you. You're the reason she's even thinking about going there. Well, what would there even be for you? A bunch of do-nothings.
What do you call the people I work with at church, Dad, huh? The people who talk about Jesus and miracles and God and haven't even cracked open the Old Testament, the people I'm expected to be...
Well, right now, I'm expecting you to go out and get in the car. Right now. Well,
Samantha leaves and slams the door behind her.
I reached out with my heart, and I find that the whole time I've been breaking my back with your charity, you've been making my daughter abandon her faith.
I've been helping.
With what? With disappointing herself and everyone around her?
Talk to her about that.
Roy tears apart the charity documents.
This project is over. Enjoy your last few months alone.
Roy turns to leave, but just as his hand is on the doorknob.
It was during our summer vacation. July. Do you remember when Dad took us to that conference? And we went in the tent, and the big preacher was on the big stand and invoking the name of the Lord. And people around us writhed and gibbered in tongues, overcome by the power of God. And Dad was helping others speak in tongues, trying to get them to accept faith. And there I was, his son. And I felt absolutely nothing. Empty. Like God had cut me off. A fat woman came up to me and started screaming in my face in a language I didn't know. I spoke back. I tried to hide it, but I knew it wasn't working. I knew, even as young as I was, that Dad could see me. He always knew that I wasn't able to connect with God. I was just a fake the whole time. I was useless to him. So he took his anger at this country, at his people, at his diminishing church out on me.
Lights. End of scene. Scene 11. The Hawke family's living room. Samantha walks in first, head on. Before she can reach the other door, Roy enters.
Hey! Hey!
Samantha stops.
Don't walk away, I'm not done talking. Sit down.
Samantha sits down.
You have no idea how much trouble you're in right now. How did you even get to Calvin's apartment? I took the car. Well?
I called a cab down the street.
With what money?
My Sunday school allowance, of course.
Can't believe
It's
this.
my money after all.
Talk about a useless investment.
Useless how?
All he did was brainwash you into going to that
For the
college.
last time, Calvin didn't brainwash me. I wanted to go.
And just why would you do that?
What's going on?
This...
I found Samantha with Calvin. He convinced her to go to Berkeley for college.
Calvin, you mean your brother? I thought you hadn't seen him in decades.
You dug your own grave on this.
Show your father some respect. When did you meet Calvin?
A while ago.
And why didn't you tell me?
It wasn't right to tell you.
Roy, when we got married, we agreed to support each other. I promised I would do everything in my power to help you in times of need. And you... Is this why you've been so sick lately? Unbelievable. You put the whole church into jeopardy because you couldn't tell your own wife.
I didn't put the church into anything.
Do you think people haven't noticed? People keep telling me that they've been casuing their prayers. You've been stuttering, you've been losing weight.
Well, I'm not Calvin. I can't...
You're not Calvin?
Just listen.
What do you mean you're not Calvin? What's going on?
Janet. He's dying, Janet. All right? Are you happy? He's dying. He has cancer. Now you know. He didn't get chemo either. Somehow, he had the strength to convince our daughter to attend Berkeley.
Berkeley? She didn't even get a letter. She didn't even apply.
I got an acceptance letter.
What?
It's at Calvin's right now, but that's where I'm going.
I don't believe this.
Now look, you're making her upset.
But why?
The GTU. The Graduate Theological Union, an institution of religious study Colorado Christian couldn't match in 1,000 years. One of the largest theological libraries in the world. What I could write when I had no resources, just the Bible and the web.
Plenty of trouble. I'll pick up the library later.
There's no later, Dad.
What's Calvin taught you?
Everything moves so fast here. You step out of high school, go to a good Christian college if you're lucky. Either way, you're caring for your kids every day and going to the same megachurch every week, and before you know it, you're 80 and looking back on the life you never led. Do you know why all my friends are older than me? Why all my friends left? Because the people with me aren't interested in God. They're not interested in prayer. They're not interested in study. They only care about their comfortable life where they never have to roll down the minivan window. I wanted opportunities.
You had your opportunities. We gave you freedom, but you chose to squander it. You're certainly not leaving without permission anymore. Well,
What?
where's your apology?
I'll do as you say. I can lock myself in my room if you want me to, but I am not apologizing for trying to find something more than the Holy Church of the Savior.
She starts for the door.
Baby Junior won't be a disappointment to you.
She turns the doorknob, but before she exits,
You don't know the first thing about what's out there. You read some books for a while and you think you know it all. But there's a lot more to this than just writing a nice story. It's hard to protect you from who's out there. The people who would hate you for who you are and what you practice. But if you're going to leave, then you need to prove that you're not just another hothead who thinks they know how to survive in the world because they read about it in a magazine.
Then I'll prove it.
Good. Just pass one test and I'll let you go to Berkeley.
Are you serious? What is it?
Perform the Easter sermon.
Roy, are you joking?
If you want to prove to me that you're capable of what you say you are, this is the only way.
On live television in front of I don't know how many
Tickets have sold out already. We're at capacity.
Good.
This is the church, Roy. Don't you think God's domain means a little more than a little family?
Samantha is our future, Janet. She's the church's future. But I want her to know that the future isn't here yet.
I'm glad you think you know what you're doing, but what's the audience going to think when Sam comes out on stage? They paid for Roy Hawke Sr.
She'll have to deal with it.
And what about us? What if they get mad at us?
There's more to faith than making people happy.
she's dressed much more formally than we've seen her. Eleanor enters and hands her a bottle of water.
Take this. You need to stay hydrated up there.
Thanks.
Are you nervous?
This is the first time I've been on stage during a service. Empty auditoriums are so nice. They've got a quiet beauty. Amazing how things change.
I don't know. I've always enjoyed it full.
Eleanor, do you
want me to succeed?
Of course. Just because it's good for the church.
The church is just a building. It's what you do in it that counts.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Reverend Samantha Hawke.
Good luck.
Samantha steps out onto the podium. She takes a deep breath, then another. She pulls out some notes and starts to read. As the podium is illuminated, we see Roy sitting in the back, his arms crossed.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Samantha Hawke, Roy Hawke's daughter. He asked me to perform the Easter sermon in his place. He says it's part of the renewal of the holiday. Easter has always been a time of growth and change. Ever since before Christian times, hold on. I'm guessing you don't want to hear about that. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm waiting on someone. He said he'd be here 15 minutes ago, and now he's... Easter is a time of renewal, a time of change, and a time of reflection. I have spent my whole life in this church, and I'm about to leave. To Colorado, to California. I don't know. But now is a good time to reflect on my experience with the church. It's been interesting. I can't say it's been completely good or completely bad. I don't think any kid could say they had the same childhood. Well, I've grown up through 3 churches and hundreds of sermons, and my point is, my father told you the parable of the Prodigal Son a few weeks ago. I want to propose my own version of the parable. A father has 2 sons. He gives them both some money to do with as they will. The first son leaves, and though he does spend much of his money on partying and luxuries, as my father says, he also tries to help those around him. He corrects injustices, feeds the hungry, frees the shackled. The second son invests his money and stays at home. He works alongside his father for many years, accomplishing little, but earning the approval of those around him. Who's the prodigal son? Who deserves a feast for coming back? The man who leaves on his feet, or the man who strays in his heart? I have met both kinds of people in my life. My transient friends, my unchanging family. And while some people believe that the mark of a true believer is never questioning, I have to say that some people are unsatisfied. Some people cannot fit in, and some people never find God. Should we, as Christians, punish these people for what they're incapable of? Would we push someone out of their wheelchair and yell at them for not walking? We must recognize that some people need to ask. That some people are searching for their faith, and maybe they find it in a different way than you. Like my brother, he likes Christian wrestling. It makes sense to him, and maybe it's not exactly what you'd approve of, but should we really chastise him because he found God in a way that doesn't confuse him? I've seen enough to know that that only leads to pain. I had intended on my uncle being here for this sermon for personal reasons. He had left the family at a young age, and, well, it doesn't matter anymore. All I care about right now is that any one of you 50,000 people assembled here will leave knowing not what Easter is about, but what Easter is for. And though he isn't going to magically enter through those doors, I know that giving this speech today was the right thing to do. Let us pray.
Let us. Scene 15, the Hawke household, the next day. Roy is pacing around nervously, checking his watch. Janet is sitting down.
Don't worry, he'll be here.
I'd understand if you didn't want to.
That was a good sermon, wasn't it?
It wasn't bad.
Are we sending her to Berkeley? You'll have to decide eventually.
What if she just runs away? She's 18, she
That
can.
won't happen.
Are you sure?
Nobody's really sure of anything. That's the point of faith.
A knock at the door. Roy gets it. It's Calvin. He throws the torn up documents at Roy.
And you were complaining about my apartment being messy.
Nice to see you too.
Oh, is this Janet?
Yes. They shake hands. Roy and Calvin sit down.
So What is it you wanted to tell me?
I wanted you to meet my family first.
Well, I already know Sam.
It's just a different way of seeing things.
Junior, stop!
Junior drags in Samantha.
How did you get so strong?
From heart. Also, a lot of weights.
Hi, Sam.
Uncle Calvin.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
No, I mean, I got your phone message. I didn't choose to go.
I suppose that was to be expected.
It's nothing personal.
I'd just like to know why.
Roy, why did you think I went?
At first, I thought it was out of cowardice. But Sam said some things that made me think that maybe you hadn't abandoned us. Maybe you were trying to show Sam where to stray.
I never thought I'd see the day where you're actually trying to make excuses for me.
So you didn't go because...
Because I'm a coward. I couldn't open my door. I just kept thinking about Dad and about the tent and...
What tent?
I guess when it came down to it, I was never cut out for it.
Calvin,
Yeah?
there's a reason I want to talk to you. Two reasons. Here's the first.
He hands Calvin a folder.
Wait. I've seen this before. An orientation packet?
For UC Berkeley.
I wanted to prove to you that I wanted to repent.
It's a great school, Sam. You're gonna make that go.
And the other is,
His hands start shaking.
I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything.
Look, we never really got along.
Not for what happened last week. For everything. Because I'd be lying if I hadn't told you that after building this church and starting a family, I only had one regret. A regret that kept me up at night. That day in the tent, I didn't feel anything either.
Lights fade. End of play.